Good morning and salam satu Malaysia. You are tuned in to TV Taylor's TVT.
Today we'll be talking about a controversial drug, marijuana. Last night in Klang Valley, a 32-year-old man was arrested for marijuana possession, and per our laws, holding more than 200 grams would be a cause for the death sentence. This possibility has sparked protests among Malaysians, netizens everywhere, but an equal number of supporters.
Very grim news. For the uninitiated, marijuana is a psychoactive drug derived from the cannabis plant. It alters a user's consciousness as well as their mental state.
While Malaysia's legislature is very strict, prohibiting usage and possession of it in any form, even coming with a death sentence as I previously mentioned, many other countries like Germany, New Zealand and also Canada are actually loosening their laws, especially for medicinal use.
That's correct, Hidil. Although marijuana does have a very negative reputation in Malaysia, the calming effect it's known to have has proven to ease chronic pain, anxiety, Crohn's disease, glaucoma, among many other things. Thanks to that, many countries are taking advantage of it.
But Myra, let's be realistic. What is it actually used for? Escapism.
Well, thanks to that, a lot of Malaysians are divided. However, politicians such as Syed Saddiq and Semasa have hinted that the government may be getting friendlier with the idea of medical marijuana.
Well, in the USA, over 60% of people in US are actually in support of legalizing marijuana for medicinal and recreational use. Do you think Malaysia will follow suit?
Let's talk to some experts who can offer us some insight into the good and the bad of marijuana. Okay, right now we will hear from both our experts, Justine and Vincent. What do you guys think?
My name is Justin and I am your expert in support of the legalization of marijuana. From what I have seen, there are numerous benefits that can be brought about. For instance, marijuana legalization can lift up the economy. Taking the USA as an example, marijuana sales have amplified their economic activity tremendously. As a default, multiple industries such as tourism, banking, real estate, construction, and transportation. That's why I take the side that the legalization of marijuana will bring about more positive outcomes than negative. To add on, major marijuana dispensaries also bring about the decline of alcohol consumption as marijuana takes its place. Secondarily, the common crimes associated with alcohol such as domestic violence and assault ultimately decrease. It is also supported by the conclusion of the national cannabis industry that crime rates due to cannabis are seemingly lower than alcohol.
Thank you, Justine. What about you, Vincent? What do you think?
My name is Vincent. I have the opposite opinion. So marijuana legalization can actually do more harm. Firstly, it can lead to increased traffic accident and deaths, just as hazardous as driving under influence of alcohol. Marijuana also brings a similar detrimental effect to drivers, as being under the influence of marijuana seriously impairs one's inhibition. For example, according to AA Foundation for Traffic Safety, fatal crash involving marijuana doubled after the legalization in Washington, USA. There's also a chance of increased drug dependence among users. Marijuana's addictive nature may cause marijuana use disorder, such as abuse and addiction, which can trigger a variety of mental health problems. Studies shows that cannabis use may increase the risk of developing psychiatric disorders such as schizophrenia and depression. The withdrawal symptoms from reducing heavy marijuana use are similar: depression, anxiety, nausea, and more. Legalizing marijuana will be playing with fire, and we need to assess all the risks.
Okay, thank you to both our experts. Up next, we have a special data analytics segment just for you.
To start off, the methodology that we used to gather information were surveys, individual interviews, and lastly, focus groups. We gave out surveys to gather data from large amounts of participants on their view on marijuana legalization. It consisted of 2 open-ended questions and 8 closed-ended questions. For the individual interviews, we had 2 of our interviewers conduct individual online interviews with our 3 participants from the Netherlands, Malaysia, and from the UAE, respectively. This is to avoid interviewer bias from affecting our findings. Lastly, we made a focus group consisting of 2 of our participants from the Netherlands and also Malaysia, respectively, a country that legalizes marijuana and a country that criminalizes it. Here are the results from our resident analysts.
The results of the online survey are as follows. 73.3% of them recognize the medical benefits that marijuana brings. Secondly, although the answer is spread across the board, looking at it from a linear scale, it is clear that most of the respondents lean towards legalizing it. Similarly, with the majority of the respondents coming from Malaysia kept in mind, the majority lie on being dissatisfied and disagree with our current laws. Moving on to the economical aspect of the legalizing marijuana, among the 86 respondents, 58 agreed that it would benefit a country economically. We wrapped up the survey with a final question. Should the use of marijuana be legalized for recreational or medicinal purposes, or both? While there is a mix of opinions between legalizing it merely for medicinal purposes and for both, the numbers ultimately show that the majority wishes for it to be only legalized for medical purposes. Hence, with that, we have come to an end of our survey findings. Next, we'll move on to our interview segment.
Before the interview started, several articles were shown to the participants to give them a brief yet detailed understanding of marijuana and its legalization. With that said, and without further ado, let us jump right into the interview.
I think marijuana can be a great help in medicine. We should really use it in the right places rather than abusing it. So more people can be helped and not bother others.
Just based on what I know so far, I thought that marijuana should be used as medicine because it can actually treat many diseases. But then the usage, I think, needs to be strictly monitored. Yeah, so that it's not misused by others that uses it.
So I think it's just because some countries value more the value of marijuana as a medical product and how it can help the people with various diseases. But I can also see that some countries might be still too scared of the risks that this drug can have. And so some countries are just more focused about the benefits rather than the risks, and some countries are more focused on the risks.
After concluding the interviews, we conducted a focus group study to acquire some qualitative data through first-hand experiences of the impact of the legalization of marijuana. When asked, how has your country's marijuana laws affected you personally, this is how they responded, with our Dutch participant witnessing its medical benefit firsthand as well as its recreational ground, while our Malaysian participant notes on its medical benefits. To help us further dissect the complexities of the different views about this topic, we consulted philosophers to help us break down these nuances.
To start, the Western philosophy has a mixed response to the usage of marijuana and also the legalization of it. For instance, a few philosophers made the case that marijuana should be legalized on the grounds that people should be allowed more control over their own bodies as long as their actions do not harm other people. On the other hand, a number of philosophers have argued against the legalization of marijuana due to the concern of potential adverse effects that it could have on individuals and society. Society has a moral obligation to discourage marijuana use because of its potential for addiction and other negative consequences. Eastern philosophy consists of 4 branches, which are Buddhism, Confucianism, Hinduism, and Taoism. Each belief teaches us how to live in a balanced manner that lines up with the spiritual path to enlightenment, as well as how to deal with addiction. In the Eastern philosophy, any amount of usage of drugs is not allowed. Hence, marijuana as a drug contradicts with the Eastern philosophy. Instead, Eastern philosophy uses holistic strategies such as meditation, exercise, yoga, art, and massage therapy to calm the mind and body when under stress.
Reviewing its psychological aspect, one of the main motives for its use is psychological pleasure, in a sense that it induces fun, enjoyment, and stress relief. The main psychoactive component of marijuana, THC, is released and creates a high sensation longed for by many to escape reality. Sociologically, according to Marxist theory, its legalization would support capitalism. Marxism emphasizes on the struggle between social classes because they believe legalization would not only allow the government to tax it, but also to control its pricing and distribution, ultimately benefiting the bourgeoisie while the marginalized suffer its consequences.
Here's something closer to home for all us Malaysians, Falsafah Sejahtera. The school of thought is all about balance, as you can guess from the name. It promotes legislation of medical marijuana as a compromise for as there is a surplus of net social benefit to be gained. Although it is a double-edged sword, the logic is that people will self-regulate possible marijuana abuse in the name of harmony, and the stigmatizing medical marijuana will strongly encourage ailing people to seek help via medical marijuana. Due to this progressive and accepting approach, it will result in a balanced and healthy outcome.
So we've heard from both sides of the debate. Here at TVT, we welcome diverse opinions and also narratives. Our special guests had valid concerns about possible marijuana abuse, and others also encouraged a more lenient approach.
The compromise, it seems, is restricting legalization to medical marijuana, with guidance of our experts, philosophers, and analysts. Form your own opinion too. Dial in tomorrow to share your views.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Salam satu Malaysia from the TVT family.